Hello, students. We are now going to look at the alternative hypothesis, and we're going to use our Excel spreadsheet from extrapolation. So we're going to end up duplicating the data analysis sheet from extrapolation, and then we're just going to take it over to our alternative hypothesis folder. One of the things I want to show to you is this. I'm going to go to level 4 knowledge base. And even though the video is not there right now, you'll see that I have access to another alternative. Well, this is an experimental video, and I'll be utilizing this in this talk. It's a little bit different from the video series that's inside of the experiment. So let's go ahead and do this. The first thing we want to do First thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and duplicate our sheet. I'm going to go ahead and go back to Dropbox, and I'm going to go into extrapolation. Well, not this extrapolation. I need to go into my folder, Brass Eric. Go here. You'll see that I have extrapolation, Brass Eric, and basically we copied and pasted information into this template. Now we're going to do a little bit more work, because we want to now make some predictions. We want to form hypotheses, or form a hypothesis based on different scenarios. So let's go ahead and copy this. And you'll see I have copy here. And I want to copy this to the alternative hypothesis. Where in the world is that folder? It's down here. There we go. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste that right here. All right, so I can go back, and now I don't have to concern myself with the data analysis that we did in the previous experiment. I do want to change the name of this. In other words, what I'm saying to you, once you have your complete analysis done, don't mess with the data anymore. Just leave it alone. Don't try to reference it, or don't try to refer to it in a new lab. Just duplicate your data and then bring it over. So I'm going to say rename. Instead of saying Brass Eric, I'm going to call this alternative, so as to distinguish hypothesis. I didn't spell that right. Hypothesis. Rename. And let's just go ahead and open this in Microsoft Excel. Right. So this is not the one that I want. I actually want, it didn't open up the right one. That's because I had the wrong file selected. I had the extrapolation file selected. Now this one is correct. You see our label, alternative hypothesis, Brass Eric. So the first thing we want to do with our extrapolated data, we have an equation at the top here. We want to utilize this equation in our measured range. When I say our measured range, actually our, it should be predicted. Okay. So what I would like to do is I am going to put a new, I don't necessarily have to do this, but it seems like it'll work fine. But I want to use this equation here, and I'm just going to pull this over. This equation is going to be equal to, and I'm just using this, it's going to be 0.0245 times x, so 0.0245 times, now what in the world is x? Well, we actually have to look on the graph, and on the graph it's the angle in degrees. And which angle are we at? We're at 10 degrees. It's right here. So I'm just going to select on 10 degrees. And then if I pull this back over, you'll see it's going to be plus 0.3975. So let me put a plus sign in here, 0.3975. All right, so you see what we're getting here. And it's basically the same thing. That's great. So basically our prediction, our hypothesis, this is where we would form our hypothesis. Our hypothesis is stating that the range in meters is going to be 0.6 at an angle of 10 degrees. We could fire this off, and we will. We'll look at the experiment, and we'll see how close we actually get, because we're going to measure these values. At the top here, I'm going to say, I'm just going to put equation of the line. All right, so I have an equation of the line. We have our information for 20 degrees, we have our prediction, and we have our measured range. We're going to also want to do this for a couple of other angles. And we're going to want to do this for 30 degrees and 45 degrees. So we can easily form or make a prediction based on those. And when I say make a prediction, I'm really getting at make a hypothesis based on what we have here. So we're going to copy that equation and just go down here and paste. And I'll just paste it here as well. All right. So at 30 degrees, it should land at 1.1. At 45 degrees, it should land at 1.5. So these, we're going to interpolate in between them and all of that stuff. But right now, let's just stick with this. So let me give this a couple more decimal places. And let me do the same here. All right, so that's good. Okay, so these are our predictions. Now we need to go off and verify them. So in our next video, we're going to verify these orange spots. I should give it a different color. Let me make them yellow. How about, let's make them yellow. I'm going to verify these yellow spots. And we're going to see how they behave based on this percent difference. So I'll just copy the percent difference, and I'm going to paste this here. And I want to paste this one here. So we're going to get values of 200. Okay. And division by 0 there. So we have to do something a little bit different in this particular case. I'll stop the video right there. When we come back, we're going to go ahead and collect our data and actually see if these things land in these locations. So this is our hypothesis. We're saying that they will land in these locations, and we're going to verify it. We're going to find out whether we're going to reject our hypothesis or whether we're going to fail to reject it. Cool beans?